Most people think financial confidence comes after success. They think once they have more money, once their savings are higher, once their debt is gone, then they'll feel in control. But that's not how it works. Confidence doesn't come after progress. It comes during it. It's built through small decisions, repeated consistently, over time. And if you wait until everything is perfect to feel confident, you'll never feel it. Because there will always be something else to fix, something else to improve, something else that feels incomplete. That's why so many people stay unsure about their money, even when they're doing better than they think. They're measuring confidence based on outcomes instead of actions, and that keeps them stuck. Because outcomes take time, but actions happen every day. And today is where that changes. Up to this point, you've been building a system. You've created structure. You've made changes. You've started to take control of how your money flows. But what you may not realize is that something else has been building underneath all of that. Awareness, discipline, consistency. And those are the real drivers of confidence. Not the numbers in your account, but the way you handle your money. Because confidence isn't about how much you have. It's about how well you manage what you have. And once you start to see that things begin to shift, you stop doubting every decision. You stop second-guessing yourself. You start trusting your process. And that's where things begin to click. Here's the truth most people miss. Confidence is not a feeling you wait for. It's a result of evidence. Every time you follow your system, every time you stick to your plan, every time you make a decision that aligns with your goals, you're creating proof. Proof that you can do this. Proof that you're in control. Proof that things are working. And that proof builds over time. Not all at once, not instantly, but steadily. And eventually, it reaches a point where you don't need to convince yourself anymore. You don't need motivation. You don't need to think about it. You just trust it, because you've seen it work enough times to believe it. Before this, money probably felt unpredictable. You might have felt like things were always changing, like you were reacting instead of directing. But now, you have structure. You have rules. You have a system that tells your money where to go. And that reduces uncertainty. It creates clarity. And clarity is what confidence is built on. Because when you know what's happening, when you understand your numbers, when you have a plan, you don't feel lost anymore. You feel in control. And that control changes everything. It changes how you think. It changes how you act. It changes how you respond when something unexpected happens. Now, here's where this becomes powerful. Confidence doesn't just affect how you feel. It affects what you do next. When you feel unsure, you hesitate. You delay decisions. You avoid taking action. But when you feel confident, even at a small level, you move differently. You make decisions faster. You stick to your plan more consistently. You don't get pulled off track as easily. And that creates more progress, which creates more confidence. And that cycle continues. That's how momentum builds. Not from one big breakthrough, but from small actions reinforcing each other over time. This is also where most people underestimate themselves. They think they need to know everything. They think they need to be perfect. They think one mistake means they're doing it wrong. But confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from recovery. It comes from knowing that even if something goes off track, you can adjust and keep going. That's real control. Because life will never be perfect. Things will happen. Expenses will come up. Plans will shift. But when you have a system, you don't fall apart when that happens. You adjust. And that ability to adjust is what builds long-term confidence. Everything you've done so far has been leading to this point. The system, the structure, the habits, the decisions. It all builds toward one outcome. Control. Not control over everything, but control over how you respond. And that's what confidence really is. It's not about eliminating uncertainty. It's about knowing you can handle it. And once you reach that point, money stops feeling overwhelming. It stops feeling stressful. It starts feeling manageable, predictable, even simple. And that's a completely different experience than where most people start. So here's your action for today. Look at what you've already done. Not what's missing. not what still needs to improve, what you've already built, because that's your proof, that's your foundation, and that's where your confidence comes from. Then commit to one thing. Keep going. Keep following your system. Keep making consistent decisions. Because confidence doesn't come from doing something once. It comes from doing it repeatedly. And once it clicks, everything changes. You stop feeling unsure. You stop feeling stuck. You start feeling in control. And from this point forward, your system doesn't just guide your money. It strengthens your confidence every step of the way. If this helped you, like and subscribe to The Daily Yield, because we're building real financial progress, one step at a time.